What's good? We back. Mercy Sports Talk. We in the building. Back talking some Detroit Pistons. A lot of Detroit Piston fans, keep putting out scenarios and thinking that the Pistons are going to move up in the draft and move into the lottery. Simple as that. I don't think they're willing to part with the pieces that it take, which will be Drummond and Griffin, or possibly Stanley Johnson. So I don't believe there's any likely scenario where the Pistons move up in the draft, or at least get into the first round, at least in the middle of it. I don't see that happening. I think they draft is, developing, Stanley Johnson, developing Henry Ellison, developing Luke Kennard. 3 recent draft picks. I think that's their draft right there. Giving these young guys the opportunity to play and play big minutes. That's their rookies for this year. They're going to infuse that talent. They really going to put them guys in a rotation where they're going to be dependent on to ball out. So I don't see them parting ways with Drummond and Griffin to get up in the draft. Now, it's an interesting scenario that could be most likely if they was to get up into the lottery. It would be trading with a team like Memphis, who wants to get that $50 million, 2 years left, $50 million contract of Chandler Parsons off the books. Looking for somebody to take that contract. And, the Pistons could trade Reggie Jackson and a few other pieces there and move up in that scenario, but it would probably take Stanley, it would probably take Luke Kennard, the Reggie Jackson contract, and maybe the second round pick this year, try to make that money work. And, I think Memphis may think about it then. Memphis, they don't want to pay Chandler Parsons for 2 more years, $25 million a piece, which obviously the Pistons don't want to pay, Reggie, the 32, but if you can get you get the number 4 pick in the draft for that, that's something that I would explore if I was the Pistons and I seriously wanted to move up. And it seems like Stanley Johnson won't be moving this year because Dwayne Casey, it seems like that's a real reason why he took the job is to develop Stanley Johnson. He has an infatuation with Stanley Johnson. And he sees the untapped potential. He knows how to develop it. So now I don't see Stanley moving, but I think Memphis would be imperative that they would get Stanley or Luke Kennard and Henry Ellison. And you might have to try to finesse them and throw that John Lure $10 million per year contract in there. But it's definitely nobody wants that Chandler Parsons deal. Nobody wants $50 million, invested into a guy for the next 2 years that can't even play 2 games in a row. So that's the risk. But other than a scenario like that, or something to Cleveland to get some assets to Cleveland, I don't think Cleveland want nothing but Dre. I don't see the Pistons moving up in the draft tonight. I don't see it. As far as into the lottery. I don't see them moving to the first round. They just don't have the assets, and I think the assets that they got, they're not willing to part ways for it, for a young player tonight. But, I heard they might be looking at Mo Wagner in the second round. I think he's going to be gone by the time they pick again. So, at the end of the day, it ain't, like I said, the rookies, their rookie class is going to be predicated on developing Stanley, him playing big minutes, developing Luke Kennard, and him playing consistent big minutes, and then Henry Ellison finally getting the rotation. Those are their rookies. They're going to develop their young guys, and that'll be the infusion of young talent for them this year. And that's the real game right there, real spit. That's what it is, man. They want to develop them 3 guys. Them going to be like rookies this year. They're going to play a lot of big minutes, through thick and thin, through good and bad. Do a lot of rookie and young guy mistakes. Dwayne Casey is going to let them figure it out. He's going to help them along the way. And their development is going to be like rookies coming in, because they actually going to be able to play these big, large minutes, and they're going to infuse into the lineup. They're going to be dependent on to be big contributors, not just contributors. They're going to depend on to do it night in, night out. And it's going to take some development. It's going to take some time, for sure. It's definitely going to take time. It's definitely going to take some development. It's going to be some tough plays, some dumb, young rookie mistake type stuff. But Dwayne Casey's developed a lot of good players, man. And I think, he can develop, at least one. Stanley Johnson, Luke Kennard, Henry Ellison, if not 2, and then he could develop all 3. Should be a bright future. But don't look for the Pistons to make any, bold moves in the draft tonight. And, definitely appreciate everybody for tuning in. We on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Check the links in the description. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon. We'll be talking a little bit about the draft, when they make their draft pick tonight. And probably some other Detroit news later on. But make sure you share the videos. We gone.